the heart and soul behind every business. Stories. Welcome to Business Story of the Week, hosted by me, Joshua Laurie. From setbacks to comebacks, from tragedies to triumphs, we inspire entrepreneurs through conversations that matter. Witness the magic that turns dreams into reality. Whether it's your career, business, or life, your success is always one story away. This is Business Story of the Week. And welcome back, folks. Welcome back to Business Story of the Week. I am your host, Joshua, and today our question is: can laughter truly be the secret ingredient to revitalizing a burnt out team, or a burnt out workplace member, or a burnt out colleague, basically? Well, our guest today might have the answer to that question. Lisa David Olson is the practicality world famous business humorist, interactive speaker, author, podcaster, performer, and customer service guru who shares how humor connects strangers. Olson is a multi TEDx speaker trainer, and professional nag accountability buddy. We need to talk about that in this show. Her interactive presentation style and tools from stage to real life are sought to re-energize stale thinking. Austin demonstrates how humor is a genuine connector with a bonus of health benefits. She has a podcast, a new book, and an interactive game she invented. And today she's going to share all of that with us. Lisa, thank you for coming on here. How are you doing?
Awesome. So great to connect, Joshua. I'm so thrilled that you reached out to me. Thank you.
Absolutely. I mean, I'm always in for the new perspective, fresh perspective. The the message that you're putting out there is humor, connecting people through humor, and I love that. I love that message. Before we really start getting into it, tell us a bit about your journey from performing on stage to becoming a business humorist and now a speaker trainer. Throughout your life, did you always know as a child that you were going to be, were you always funny? Are you always, did you know you were always going to be a speaker training? What is the story of Lisa David Olson?
As a kid, I found humor because we grew up in a home with, our mom was an alcoholic, and now I know she was treating her own mental issues and
Mm,
self treating. And back then, alcohol was at the ready. I think
mm,
she took pills as well. And it's easier for me to talk about it now. I actually
mm.
wrote my first book about that journey.
Wow.
Humor with myself and my three siblings meant
Hmm.
after a night of physical abuse or being yelled at or
Wow.
pulled out of bed in the night and that
Hmm.
kind of a thing, humor would help us to entertain each other, to
Hmm.
laugh. And now we know as adults, laughter releases endorphins. It's
Wow.
a buzz. It
Hmm.
lowers your blood pressure. It releases
Hmm.
nature's serotonin. As a kid, you just know it feels great. So we would
Hmm.
laugh to help each other heal.
Wow.
And that became my journey in life, was always seeking the laughter. You always want that first hit, that buzz of that
Hmm.
first hit. For me, it was laughter, not drugs. So I
Hmm.
always sought to make people laugh and
Hmm.
to seek where I would find laughter as well.
Hmm.
So eventually, as an adult, I had joined a singing group. And from there, I learned about an improvisation comedy troupe. So I tried out. I'm like, I don't know how to do improv. I'm not
Hmm.
that quick. I tried out, I got in, and fast forward to today, since 2000, I've been running the troupe. And we do shows, we do
Wow.
corporate events, and, all from audience ideas. We make scenes right on the spot.
That's fascinating. I'm always fascinated by improv because there's always that, like, am I that quick enough? I have to be creative right on the spot, and there's always that, like, it can it be done by anyone? That's a question, right? And time again, I'm proven that with the guests that I've had, they always talk about improv in such a way that it not only helps their humor, of course, and their creativity or thinking on the spot, but it's so easy to translate that into business. It's so easy to translate that into somehow connecting with your team, getting people together, because of course it makes sense. You are a troupe, you get together and you work with ideas, basically, and this falls in line with your emphasis on the role of human when it comes to connecting people. what are some practical ways that you've seen? Of course, we talked about your personal life in a more deeper sense, where humor was used to, as to alleviate what you were going through. But in a practical sense, in the dynamics in the workplace, what are ways humor can be used in that scenario?
The first thing you said was, I don't think just anyone can do improv. But when you break it down,
Hmm.
and I'm also an interactive speaker. So I use my
Hmm.
improv in my keynotes, and that makes me very unique.
Hmm.
And I ask people, do you have a boss? Do you have a partner? A
Hmm.
kid? Did you ever have
Hmm.
parents or a teacher?
Hmm.
Yes, yes, yes. We've all done improv. We do it when we're driving. We do it in an everyday conversation. That is a
Interesting.
form of improv. You just might not be on a stage in the spotlight. And the reason
Interesting.
improv thinking makes you quicker is that if you're surrounded with like my improv team and we have trust,
Hmm.
there's no way I would let Joshua hang forgetting what room we're in, or is he the cashier or is he the customer? If I see that look in your eyes, I'm going to go, "Hey, Frank, the cashier, I'm just here to return this milk." And boom, I just reminded you who you were because I want to make you look good.
Hmm.
That's what works in the workplace.
Wow.
Trust,
Wow.
listening,
Hmm.
noticing when somebody's uncomfortable and picking them up, being
Hmm.
there as a team. And so therefore, in my latest book, that's what I talk about. Tips from the stage to use in real life. How do we
Hmm.
listen better? Why is storytelling very important in work? And
Wow.
why is it important to be a team member who's approachable?
Hmm.
Trust in the workplace. Anybody
Exactly.
listening right now, do you feel trust in the workplace? Or do you feel
Right.
like, man, as soon as I leave the room, they're going to be talking, or they're going to blame me for something that happened, or I'm not going to get that credit? If you
Hmm.
don't have that kind of trust, I come in, I bring people together on a different level and plant those seeds that they
Wow.
can think about later and think, okay, was I really that great to my coworker? When you
Right.
are good to others, it generally comes back to you.
Wow. Of course, I love that. I love how you close that. When you are good to others, it does come back to you. It truly is. And I love the aspect of trust. When it comes to, improv troops, you gotta trust that you're trusted that you will deliver. You're going to add value onto that improvisation, and it's no wonder why it works so well in team dynamics. You talked about your latest book. But I understand you also have a previous book, or a book that you wrote, which is From the Spotlight to Real Life. Am I correct?
The
And
first book is Laughs on Rye, and Rye is
laugh on.
spelled WRY, so it's
Yes.
irony. So that's more of my
Yes.
memoir and how I
Wow,
found
I love
funny
that.
through tragedy.
I love that.
And yes, the latest book, I happen to have a copy here, From the Spotlight to Real Life.
Yes.
And it is tips from the stage to reignite teams and spark communication skills, as well as encouraging speakers. There's even a quiz in here, Joshua. You could find out if you are funny.
What, really? Okay. Wow. Okay. So that's interesting, because it's always a thing. Like, are you funny? Like, am I really that funny? Wow. I want to find out. I want to take on that
Yeah, my
quiz.
dog thinks I'm funny. I must be. Yeah.
Precisely. Lisa, can you share us one of your favorite trips from the book? Right, real quick, go through. I'm sure there's a lot in there, but share something for our audience and listeners today. A favorite tip of yours from the book.
I include a lot of improvisation games in there, things that you could play with your family, your friends, or
Hmm.
in the workplace. And it's not all waka waka funny. Sometimes
Hmm.
it's just about listening and participating. But the LDO, that's me, guarantee
Hmm.
is I won't scare the introvert. So when I come into your area, I'm not going to go, you in the red shirt, get on up here and let's play. I don't do that because there's days I'm not feeling it too.
Hmm.
One of the tips would be working on listening, and maybe it's letting your guard down to
Right.
also increase trust. And that could be as simple as putting a game in the break room or a common area. When somebody brings in donuts, where do you put them? That's your common area. And do a game that's just so easy. You've got a pad of paper and a bunch of colored pens or pencils, and everybody takes turns throughout the day. Maybe you start a line that says, I was walking the dog and you wouldn't believe what I found. That's one sentence, and I put that on there.
Okay.
Now you come
Wow.
in the break room, you grab another pen. What would you add to that? I wrote in there, I was walking the dog and you wouldn't believe what I found. What would you add?
Oh man, I would add a broken toy or something, like a broken chew toy.
That's great. And then somebody
Okay.
else will maybe describe it, or maybe they stepped on it. Maybe it was theirs, and
Ah,
it goes
interesting.
on.
Interesting.
And so that's one way to get us to let our guard down and not always be thinking spreadsheets and meetings and notes.
Beautiful.
It's a different way
Wow.
to go, Joshua, did you see? I think you wrote that about the toy. Did you see? Now there's a talking chicken in the story. You got to go read
Hmm.
it. We're now connecting on a different level that makes us connected as humans and not just coworkers. Man, we
Wow.
can get into that whole silo of she's accounting and he is HR, and
Right.
so
Right.
we don't cross that line. How was your weekend? Good. How was yours? Good. Okay.
Hmm.
That's not communicating. That's
Right.
not an
Right.
exchange of
Precisely.
information.
Precisely. I love that. Of course, I love that. Like you said, that it brings people's guards down. It brings down
Mhm.
the barrier, the walls that we put up. Because, like you said, I'm in accounting. I don't have to like give you all the details of my work. There's always that natural wall that we put around us because of our roles in the workplace. And having that kind of interaction allows us to bring down those walls. So now we can connect better as a team, and everything just flows better, of course, naturally, right? I love that you do that, Lisa. And thank you for giving us an example of that interaction, because now I'm thinking, like, it's a fun game. It's a fun game to have, not just for the workplace but in general. But
Yes.
speaking about games, Lisa, you invented your own card interactive game, the game Dare Zone. It
Yes.
really sounds intriguing. First of all, how is the game played? How did you come up with the idea? And how does it benefit teams and organizations?
Great. I'm going to go backwards to that other game really quickly. If
Please,
you
please.
had just a piece of paper and you and your friends were
Mm.
out having beers and appetizers and you're waiting for the food, instead of sitting on your phones, you could pass the pad around and do that
Wow.
story game.
Wow,
There,
wow,
and
wow.
I've also done it in the office with birthday cards. Instead of going, Happy birthday, Bill, it's
Hmm.
the story. And it became huge and funny, and then everybody wanted the card back. So that was just to finish that off.
Yes,
The
that's
Dare
wonderful. Yeah.
Zone, I used to carry this around on just recipe cards in a Ziploc bag, all my
Okay.
ideas. And what this is a game of prompts. So
Hmm.
it's kind of like charades.
Hmm.
It's corporate clean, which is my favorite humor. And it is to encourage you to either share a true story
Hmm.
or to act out something physically and you can
Hmm.
tell what you're doing,
Hmm.
or you could ask the audience, guess what I'm doing. It's up to you.
Hmm. Hmm.
And every card has two prompts on it. So here's how I do it. I'll say, I need three people. I'm going to tell
Hmm.
you my secret. I need three people. Usually out of a room of 50 or 100 people, three people will go, I'll come up. Once those three people come up, I go, now each one of you choose somebody. So you see
Oh.
there again,
Hmm.
I'm not picking you. I'm not forcing you up.
There you
Somebody
go.
else might be. Now I've got six players. I give you each two cards because now you've got four prompts to choose from. Again, low pressure.
Hmm.
Out of four things, I'm pretty sure you can do one.
Hmm.
Now,
Hmm.
if I gave you a card with one prompt and said, do this, that's pressure. So it's really a way to ease you into it. So now you've got a choice of four. So you want to choose a card?
Sure
I'll
thing.
give you this one
Please.
and I'll give you this one. Now, out
Oh,
of
wow.
these, and this works really well in the classroom if people want to say, we're all going to do a story today. I want
Hmm.
you to choose one prompt and write a
Please.
story and then share it. I mean, it's great for that too. So on card one, you got explain to the hotel staff you need a separate room for your therapy pet. Or pretend to eat spaghetti through your nose.
Oh
Through your
my. Oh
nose.
gosh. Oh gosh.
Or because I gave you two cards,
Yes, please.
this one's a popular one.
Hmm.
You're a manure salesman. Sell your products to the person on your right. Or lay on the floor and imitate a piece of frying bacon. but it's turkey bacon, which makes no
Oh, oh,
sense.
oh my
Which
God.
makes no sense. Like,
Okay, make this
yeah.
okay. Very exciting stuff. How about the first prompt? I think I can't lay on the floor right now. I don't have anyone to
Explain
my
to
right.
hotel staff that you need a separate room for your therapy pet. And what this does is it allows us to learn what is your therapy pet, right?
Precisely. And my therapy pet would be an iguana.
Of course.
Of course, it's an iguana, right? Because it helps me relax. You know, when I run my fingers through the rough reptile back, it allows me to relax for some reason, right? And then when their eyes are going into different direction, it makes me, it convinces me that I can focus on two different things at once. Oh my goodness. So, um, so yes, I need a separate room for my iguana because he needs a full, I don't know, he needs a full forest to stay into. So we're also going to bring in all those plants and all for him.
Right.
And he needs a room for himself. So I need a separate room for my therapist pet, and I need it right now, please. Oh, and by
Oh,
the
and
way,
what is his name?
I was about to say his name is
Oh,
George.
yes.
That's for some reason. Wow, I love that guy.
That's fantastic. I like the
Thank you,
two
thank you.
eyes because you have to have two choices of how your different options of ideas. That's
Yeah,
fantastic.
and
Did
always,
you know you were going to do improv today?
I had no. I was gonna say this is the first thing I ever did on the show ever. I didn't even know.
Wow.
I didn't even think about that. I never played a game on the show, let alone do improv in the show. Maybe I can do improv after all.
Darn right. You can, because if you have the right people around you who trust you and want you to do well, yes, you can. And
Wow,
why
that's
not? The only way you can't is if you don't try.
that's fascinating. Of course, and I love that you also. First of all, I love that you emphasize all the time that you be trusted and you do better if you are trusted. Second is I
Hmm.
love that you are always you're thinking of the introverts, Lisa. You're thinking about,
Yes.
there's compassion in there because you're thinking that okay, I want to make sure they're comfortable, everyone's comfortable when playing the game. You're given a lot of options, you're given a lot of time to think perhaps, and then it just brings people together, it connects people together. And again, what better way to connect through humor, through fun? And I love that you have made this your entire messaging. I love it. I can't say about it enough. Of course, that improv game right now is something I will never forget for a very very long time. Lisa, you
Great.
you call yourself a professional nag. It's
Hmm.
it's actually quite funny. Like, what does that mean? How do you motivate individuals to start their projects or prepare for their keynotes? What common challenges do you help them overcome? And why is it called a professional nag? Why do you call yourself that?
Because I don't like to use the same wording as everyone else. When
Right.
buzzwords become so popular, like authentic, that
Oh,
word gags me,
of
honestly.
course.
And
Of course.
and I don't even care if I offend anyone. I'm sick of that word, authentic. So I would rather say that it's your unique message or your, individual thought process and things
Mm-hmm.
like that.
Mm-hmm.
If we're all authentic, which we are, why are we saying it? Just get out there and do the thing. And so it's really important to have somebody to check in with. Here's a very
Right.
small example.
Right.
I have adult children. When I'm about to clean out a closet, I will get a hold of one of my sons and I'll say, I'm sending you a picture of my closet. Give me 20 minutes. I'm going to send you another picture. I am so competitive. And I also do before and after pictures of everything, my
Right.
yard work, my floors, whatever. Yes, it's uptight. I'm uptight. I'm very high energy. I think we all need some sort of accountability. I've got one friend I check in with once a week,
Mm-hmm.
because she's trying to write her book and she's overwhelmed because
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to write a book. Or how about I'm going to write 2 paragraphs today? Let's break
Mm-hmm.
it down.
Mm-hmm.
That's the same I do with keynotes. Let's break it down.
Wow.
If you were standing on the roof of this house, what is your message? You'd have to shout to me in the driveway. If you were up on the top of a bluff, what is it you would announce through the loudest speakers that you'd want me to know? What is the message you need to scream from the TEDx stage?
Mhm.
Let's take that. Now let's make it brilliant and interesting and give me a real story that makes me want to know more about you. There's so many ways. Now, what's the call to action? What am I supposed to feel moved to go do? If
Mhm.
your keynote, if you don't know your audience,
Mhm.
figure out who your audience is because you're not speaking to the
Of
masses.
course.
You
Yes, of
can't.
course.
I
Mhm.
used to do radio. I'm not talking to all of you out there in radio land. I'm
Mhm.
talking to my best friend Sharon is sitting by me in my mind.
Wow. Wow.
Hey, when I was at the bar last night, I played darts and I was blah blah blah. I'm just going to talk to Sharon. I just have so much passion for keeping people on their trail of what your goal is. And even if you don't nail the goal, doing the small steps toward it. Maybe you didn't finish your book, but maybe you figured out two keynotes from what you were writing. Maybe you
Wow.
figured out one TEDx. Maybe
Mhm.
you figured out
Mhm.
some really fun social media posts. But if you don't take a little step toward one of those, you don't fall on your proper message or your call to action.
I
It
love
just
that.
helps.
Of course. Of course. So.
That's why I'm a professional nag. And I've been
Okay.
married 3 times, so you could ask anybody.
Wow. Okay. Well, there you go. I mean, Lisa, it's hilarious, of course, how you branded yourself as that way as a professional nag, but also more than that, I think you've really found quite the method of connecting differently in your own unique way as well. And I think that's quite special today. Like I said, like you said yourself, like buzzwords get really old, they get really stale,
It's a
and
turnoff, especially with AI, because people, if you use buzzwords, I'm going to tell you guys this. If you're using buzzwords, chances are people are going to assume you had AI write it. I saw a whole bunch of threads on that. Oh, that must be AI because they use this word, that word, and that word. I'm like, oh my
absolutely,
gosh.
absolutely.
Why don't we just get our work done and quit worrying about all that?
Precisely. And why don't we just write our own stories and not have AI do them, right?
Right?
Precisely. It's so much more
Yes.
better, so much more humorous, so much more fun. We'll connect better, especially, I mean, that is exactly the message that you have brought to us today. Lisa, I love the energy. I love the messaging. Um, I want to give you this opportunity right now. Where can we find you? Where can we connect with you? Where can we find the book? And of course, where can we keep up to date with Lisa David Olson? Let our audience and listeners know.
Yes, thank you. My main hub is Facebook, Lisa David Olson. I'm also on LinkedIn and Instagram. My sillier stuff is on TikTok, but everything's Lisa David Olson. You can Google my name. I stole my husband's middle name to make it easier to find, and I've got a website. I love to travel to talk, and I love to share the message of humor and connectivity and better customer service.
Wow. And you have shared with us today. I mean, Lisa, I cannot get enough of that game. We need to play a bit more. And I'll grab myself a copy of that game. And I, of course, encourage our audience and listeners to do the same. Lisa, before I let you go, one last thing, truly one last thing that you would like to leave with us. Any tips, any advice? Again, how do we connect better? Or a game suggestion, by the way. Anything else that you'd like to share us one more time? Take us home.
Excellent. I've got a bunch of improv ideas just like we went through here, and that's in my book. So go ahead. I also sell a PDF. If you're interested in talking, it's called Launch Your Speaking, and it's
Wow.
great ideas on how to start speaking, starting small and building up, and why
Mhm.
you can be a speaker. I've got all that in there. And lastly, seek more punchlines, less headlines. Find bloopers from your favorite show. Find silly things that make you laugh, especially before bed, because that is the buzz we all need. And when you're sending a
Wow.
joke to somebody that says, I'm thinking about you and I know you'll love this, there's just no better way to connect.
I love that. More punchlines, less headlines, and that's true. We're always thinking about what the best thing to say, but sometimes that's not always connecting. And the best way to truly connect is think about those moments where people can react in such a positive way. About the PDF that you were selling, where can we find this, Lisa?
Yes, I am just so cheesy with it. Just message me or let me know, and you can just let me know if you're interested. And it's usually $40, but if they tell me that they saw your show, we'll do it for 25, and we'll just do it through Venmo, and I'll send the link.
All right, that's fantastic, Lisa. You have been lovely, and this has been a great show. I mean, I honestly want to play more games with you, but we are running out of time.
Anytime. You were great, and please say hello to George for me.
Okay, I will do right now, right after this show. I'll stroke his rough reptilian back for you. I'll let him know. Lisa, thank you so much for your time. Thank you for being on the show.
Thank you so much.
And to all our audience and listeners out there, see you on the next one.
All right, so here's the thing. We try to get a little bit better every day, but we can't do it without you. So if you like the video, make sure to like and subscribe below. And if you have any comments, just leave them in the space under.